Hello BANEEN, thank you so much for your week 2 submission. I thought that I'd give you some more video feedback as well as the email feedback, just so you can hear me talk about some of your folio pages and some of the specific things that are working well. I just find that this sort of feedback is perhaps a bit easier for me to do, and hopefully it's also easier for you in terms of seeing what I'm looking at the time that I'm looking at it. So let me know how you go with this. So first up, we'll look at your design brief. I think that, you've basically submitted the same one that I saw back in week 13. So if you want to improve on the result you got, I think it was about a 6 out of, a 6 out of 10, then go back to the week 13 feedback that I've given you and have a look at the attachment and read some of my comments. And if you have any questions about that, just ask me. Okay, so let's have a look here. I'll just expand that so we can see. I thought this was great. Your research is really, really thorough, and it was a pleasure to read through it. And your annotations were really descriptive, and they really clearly demonstrate your reflective and critical thinking and your analysis of existing labels and package design. So I've just made a couple of comments here. The first one is just make note of the materials that are used on the bottle form. That'll inform you for later on when you're designing your own package, what material to use. The other thing you might want to comment on is the use of the image and what are some common images that are used. And we discussed over the phone once about those images really having to convey the idea of freshness, which I think is really important in juice label design. The other thing I wanted to make mention of was you've found this really good Aztec-inspired design here with all those lovely geometric patterns, but you might want to make note of whether this effectively targets your audience or not. So that's something. If you think it does, that's great, but just make sure that you're mentioning that in your annotations. This was wonderful, such an innovative design, very simple, a lot of white space there. It's a very dominant ground design there, so that was quite good. So well done for finding that. These were lovely too, using very sort of pastel muted colours, but working within the same tonal family to just change the shade really. So it's a very subtle use of colour there. This was nice too. It's a very sort of casual typeface. This sort of typeface is really, really contemporary at the moment. So I think the fact that you've included it is a good thing. It shows your awareness of contemporary style. And your audience, remember, are young and possibly, very savvy with design and aesthetics. So it's really important that you design for them, and so picking a typeface like this is really good. Just scrolling through, I was really impressed too with this page. You've showed a really lovely variety here of package forms. Your sketches are really well done, they're really confident. Your annotations were highly detailed and, very creative. This was great, and the fact that you've been inspired by fruit shapes, which you make mention of in your annotations. The photo on this was a little bit blurry, but I kind of got the gist here, and it's wonderful that you're being directly influenced by nature and that you've used some of these shapes. Look, even if those shapes are ridiculous in terms of, standing up in the supermarket shelf, it doesn't matter. What I really love is that you've thought outside the box and that you've gone further and pushed yourself creatively, which is really important at this stage of the idea generation. So well done for doing that. The tea bag shapes here, and you've been directly inspired by those. So, this was great, BANEEN. That's a wonderful, very high, I would say, would be the mark I'd give you for the actual package, the package form design. So moving on down, what do we have next? We have some more very thorough research on tea and tea bags, and your inspiration here on colour, on the Holy Festival. I went to one of those festivals. They are crazy. All that colour that gets thrown around. It's quite beautiful, but you need to wear sunglasses, otherwise it gets in your eyes. This is wonderful. You know, all your research, it was really, really interesting. So you've done some really amazing things, Baneen, but there are still gaps in your folio. So let's go through some of those. The gap that's really obvious at the moment is your actual label. So the label, oops, I don't have my pen tool here. So, you know, we need to see at least 2 folio pages showing, you know, label designs and all your options. You know, I'm using a mouse here, so please forgive the drawing. What's the name of your juice? Anyway, I can't remember. So, you know, just, you don't have to draw them on your actual bottles that you've done, but you can just get a separate page, folio page, and just show us all of the label designs. You know, be really creative. Think of different ways to fill in the shape. You know, squiggly line maybe. Anyway, come up with lots and lots of different label designs. I think it'd be great if you could come up with at least, you know, 15 different ones. That would be great. And the second thing that's missing is obviously all your presentation 2 idea generation. So that would be your poster design. So you need to come up with, you know, between 20 and 30 different layouts for the advertisement. We talked a lot about those concepts over the phone, so it'd be great to see some of those. Just remember, it's grey lead pencil. There are some great examples on the website of layouts for posters. Mimi has done them for her yoga studio. Do you remember that presentation back in week 2 or 3, I think it was, where I showed you some of the layouts she did for the poster of the yoga studio? So if you could copy that idea and the level of detail that Mimi has used in her layouts, that would be really, really good. So look, great start, Baneen. The quality that I've seen is very high, but let's try and get a speed up with things and make sure that you get all the rest of your folio done as well.